out by cLaw Central as they take out Thatcher, the man who's the bane of Cafe, the man that shuts down those pixel holds. Now, will we see Capital, another operator pretty much designed to shut down the pixel play? No, it's going to be Maverick. So a set of frag grenades and that torch will no longer be a factor here on Cafe.
I would love to see a Wamai ban for our first defending ban, and it will be coming out, and it will be Mira. It's a pretty typical ban. She makes the map so hard to play, but what I love about Wamai bans or Jaeger bans is it really forces the defense to play differently because they can't go for their typical utility burn. And for our last ban, we will actually have Wamai. He will not be in play, so there won't be as much of a utility burn that typically bogs down the attack, and holding that pixel peak in piano will be a bit harder for the defense.
Especially with Capital being left unbanned means Pixel is going to be extremely dangerous place to play. That is, if the attackers elect to bring the Capital. Now, the newest operator to join Season 4, and that's going to be Iana. She's a very unique operator, and we talked a bit about her in week number 1, but she has the unique ability of increasing the attacker's drone economy by a potential 70%. And a map like Cafe that is so large, especially when you're attacking downstairs and you have to drone the entire map out, an operator that essentially increases your drone economy is a brilliant decision to have. Now, is it better than a Capital, especially when they're going to bar first? That's a decision we're going to have to actually see pan out through the latter rounds. But it's going to be bar, as mentioned before. And the one thing, too, that the Wamai ban facilitates is another defender is going to bring a shield. Some teams actually like to bring Valkyrie with a shield, or they rely on the smoke to bring a shield, but it's actually going to be baited, still running his deployable shield as usual, and Valkyrie is going to be on that exploding nitro cell.
Well, I would actually say that Iana might be quite helpful in clearing the pixel angle if you use the Iana drone to bait out while you throw utility, and we'll see both the ADSs being placed in Cigar Shop. So it might be a lot easier to get off the pixel shield if there's going to be a pixel shield at all, which they might not go for. They might instead go for a nitro hold from below. That's what I think they might be doing here. No, it looks like Valkyrie will be playing there, and the shield will be used elsewhere inside of Cigar Shop.
It almost looked for a second like that was a shotgun on Thunder, but no, that was just baited. I think my monitor just had an aneurysm, or maybe it was my 3 brain cells having an aneurysm. It's sometimes hard to tell the difference, but the horses are out of the stable, and it's going to be AcaRa Gaming taking some aggression picks already, trying to relinquish that pixel hold. You can see the upside down repel on White Window. And that was Valkyrie forced to retreat, a dangerous retreat at that. I believe she just walked down White stairs. Ballsy play coming out by Jaiko, but again, we've seen him frag out big before, so if anybody's going to be having some ballsy play, it will be him.
I would also like to point out the strength of the Iana in countering Valkyrie, because if she sees an Iana drone within piano and she goes to use her nitro, she could easily be fooled because at higher levels, you almost never ping to give away the location of the camera. So that could be quite an effective fake.
Great point, my friend. But the attackers a little slow on this initial execute. The majority of them are still out of the building, except for Warrior and a few of his mates have now just pushed in through the piano cigar area. And that vertical nitro cell you alluded to is going to punish Clowns as he gets obliterated and taken off the field. Warrior attempts the refrag, misses a few shots, but the Potato Fest continues, and it's Thunder eventually losing that. A huge blunder by both of these players, and Warrior somehow still gets the better, but Jaika's attempting the refrag, and he's going to succeed that downstairs by Brown Stairs. It's actually a down but not out by Warrior, and his teammates most likely going to res him. Remember, Jaiko has already utilized his Nitro Cell, so he won't be able to explode him from underneath. He's going to have to go to shooting the floor, and that's kind of a crapshoot, and that's exactly what's happening. It looks like Ash will still be resed very successfully with under 60 seconds.
Well, it's been taking a while to pick her up, and now she will be back into the fray. We'll see Jaiko still playing on top of yellow. This is a pretty strong, not on top of white. What am I doing? We'll see the attackers, however, be going for a cigar push, and we might even see a skylight drop from, not sure exactly who's up there, But it is quite a strong position. We're seeing the plant going down in default as the smoke grenades begin to ring out. But Hibana should be able to get off the plant before dying. And in fact, she even manages to escape with his life, putting into a 3 versus 3. But they still have an attacker up on the skylight. That's a very strong power position. We'll see Hibana drop down, perhaps looking to counter the defuse from below, just using that Bearing 9 to spray through the floor. Smoke is contesting the Hibana. No, not the Hibana, the Zofia, and we'll find a pick, but Jaiko will find Big Bait and take him off the board. Bait is down, so it's all in the hands of the Valkyrie now. Let's see if she can make anything happen here. She's in a position to confirm the kill on the Zofia, but doing that probably will not leave her enough time to go for the defuse, and she'll go for the stat pick. That's a triple from Jaiko, but now he's going to be forced with no time for the defuse. He's going to have to stick it now. And I think Skur 4 will just go for the knife. Yes, it looks like he will. No, he'll just go for a simple headshot, taking the first round for AcaRa Gaming. Quite unusual for a defender-sided map like Cafe.
Scream Lol is going to be laughing all the way to the bank as he played that impeccably, just hanging out on Skylight and waiting for the confirmed audio cues. And let's be honest, Jaiko had really no decision other than attempt to stick it and wish upon his lucky stars that Scream would just miss his shots. But again, players at this level, wishing and praying for them to miss is just something that you cannot, well, rely on consistently. And that's exactly what happened. A good idea coming out by the defense. I like the idea of holding a shop style hold. It really requires the attackers to burn a lot of utility. The problem with it, though, is if you relinquish control too quickly, which they did, that's exactly what happens. The attackers begin to steamroll in the site, they set up their crossfires, and they punish the defense. Valiant effort, as mentioned before, but hopefully they're able to just change some other initial strategies up. And I believe it's also very advised to go downstairs to kitchen and ponder the mistakes they just made a few minutes ago.
Yes, almost certainly. This downstairs bomb site, especially the Kaid and the Mute for double anti-breach, can really facilitate an anchor down hold. And they will have the Vigil for the deep roam, as well as some assistance from the Mute Jammers to help keep his position hidden. Though I do think Mozzie can also be quite effective on the deep roam, especially considering you've got the Nitro to help hold Piano.
Curious that you mentioned Mozzie, an operator that's kind of fallen out of the meta, and I don't really know why, because information denial meta is still a big deal, and another great denial meta is also banning people who are cheating, so good night to them. Glad you won't be participating in Rainbow Six Siege for the time being, but Mute Mozzie is an incredibly oppressive lineup. And especially coupled that with Flaunson on the Vigil, it's going to be very difficult to get any information, but obviously they're electing a different ideology. But again, we've seen Mozzie go down to pretty much not played. I think he only has like a 30% play rate, and his win rate is about average, which is, again, blows my mind because he's an operator purely to design droning, and in a game like Rainbow Six Siege, especially at this level, information is imperative.
I think removing the super shorty really hurt his fun factor, and people often underestimate the fun factor in Siege. And what is certainly fun is using Jaeger's carbine, and we will see Jello get a pick onto Clouds. That's him off the board. We will see the guns of Flaunson and Chili taking shots at each other. Flaunson's in a great position to deny the push, but no, Skur 4 with the whip on the gridlock will find an excellent pick, just utilizing the angle onto his head. And that's Flaunson, their main roamer, off the board. Now it's all going to be down to Jaiko as he falls back to site to try and hold his own. We'll be seeing Gridlock just trying to clear out that main stairs, that red stairs, chucking some gridlocks onto it, and just waiting for her time to push down. We'll see Ash playing up top, starting to tear open the floor, but Kaid is cooking a Nitro and hoping he can give her a delicious surprise of C4. We'll see the Hash attempt to get Hibana open, but we'll see a Claw come out in time to deny it. Ash is in a position to find the Kaid, but he'll move out of the way. In fact, if only she had been holding that angle a bit more aggressively, she could have found a pick. Chili will take out Bait. That's the Maestro off the board, and quite a big loss for cLaw Gaming.
It's going to be 60 seconds left, and the attackers are going to have to begin their execute, but they've already killed 2 ducks. So that's part of your aggression taken care of, but it's going to be Chaiko. His positioning is perfect. He's going to attempt the second kill, or pardon me, his third kill in this round. He sees a player sitting deep in VIP, but it's going to be Track Stingers to go out to try to prevent his rotate. But who needs to prevent a rotate when you can pull a bullet straight in his head? The attackers find themselves at a man advantage, but it's going to be Thunder hitting a very tight angle with the TCSG, but Warrior's actually going to end up winning the gunfight, and he's going to find himself down, but not out. Crispy finds 2 big kills, but Big on the big flank ends up punishing him, and it's going to be a second round win for the attacking lineup of AcaRa Gaming. The Sharks are in the water. They're already definitely showing that. The pink Sharks at that.
Yes, and honestly, right now, I think the Gridlock is being Team AcaRa's most valuable player. She's just really punishing those roamers and finding excellently clean headshots on the roamers and just absolutely decimating them. And clearing out those roamers has really been helping AcaRa get these deep site pushes. In an attempt to counter that, we will be seeing Echo brought instead of Maestro, just hoping to perhaps use. I would be interested to see if they use the drones more offensively to help Flanson on his roam. That would be one interesting way to utilize them.
Now, I very much like cLaw Central's very elongated roam. They're getting picks and they're wasting time, but they're really not doing anything in the latter parts of the round. They're just kind of relying on their guns to come alive. And I would like to see a more detailed strategy other than just holding out and wasting time. Now, time management is a very important thing here in Rainbow Six Siege, and wasting time is very important. I want to emphasize this. But you have to have more to your strategy or be running a strategy designed to waste time. And that's kind of not what they're doing. Their strategy is to get an early pick, waste time, and then pray that the attackers don't have enough time to execute. And that's a strategy I'm not the biggest fan of. And it's going to be a different change, bringing out Baited with the Echo. And this is going to provide more information and degrade a little bit of the attacker's time. So maybe that's the adjustment I'd like to see. But I'd like them to stick, again, to one finite strategy, whether it's utility consumption or information denial. And they're kind of doing a hybrid of that, and it's so far not really working out for them. Another thing I'd like to see is an attempt on reading statistically the best site here on Cafe.
Yeah, we'll see Jaiko try a little dirty spawn peek, trying to watch those actually not Christmas, those market runouts, and hoping to find a free pick into the round. Pretty dirty play. And given the way he was peeking it, not exactly the highest risk play. We'll see Gridlock start to tear open the window to watch Pengu rotate, but no one is playing there. Jaiko will be playing quite aggressively, watching the main stairs window. In fact, we might see a kill on Ash if he goes for the window hop out, but no, he will decide to run down the stairs, deciding not to risk his life on such a risky peek. If he jumps out the window and can't find the kill quick enough, that would certainly be his undoing. We'll see the hatches start to get ready to be torn open as the attack begins to look to start taking the control of the top floor and start pushing down from there. So far, it's not really looking good for the defense as they're down 2-0. They really need to pull back the next 4 rounds if they really want to get things going here again, as Cafe is supposed to be a defender-sided map. We see Flanson playing down below. There are a lot of players pushing his position, but he's more than capable of finding it. And he will find an excellent kill onto Chili with a fantastic angle. He'll find a double onto Warrior. Let's see if he can go for the triple on the person pushing him from Piano Hatch.
Poor Chili's gets wallbanged. His original target wasn't felled, but he still tacked up a Warrior kill as well. So it all worked out in the end if you're a fan of cLaw Central. And this is exactly what they needed. They needed 2 big picks and to have one of their main roamers still up and alive. He's going to find a new home here on the reading side. But it's going to be Big Bad Ben finding a kill, but Flanson on the triple kill is going to punish that aggression, and more attackers continue to fall. Under 60 seconds left, and you have your support operators as well as your flex operators trying to establish a crossfire here on Flanson. Flanson's life is most likely forfeit, but he's going to have to really show his worth here and attempt to get more kills as well as waste times. Flanson's on the quad. He's attempting to find the ace in this round. He's going to use an impact grenade to try to change up his rotate. He's going to see the head of the 1, but he can't control the SMG-12 recoil. He's going to attempt to rotate. He has support here by his teammate, but he's really eager for this ace. Echo drones continue to go out, provide information. The SMG-12 is his undoing, though, as Cloud punishes him. The ace will not be a thing, but it's most likely AcaRa losing this round because, well, he's stuck here in the train museum. I think Cloud knows his life is forfeit. We're going to see a Nitro Cell come out from underneath. It's gripped and ripped. No, it's not going to come out. It's going to be cLaw Central winning round number 3 and their first defensive win.
Yes, really, the Vigil was the MVP that round. So many early picks that really just stalled out AcaRa. And I don't think the Ayana has been working too well for AcaRa. Sure, they've been winning, but they haven't really accomplished too much with her utility. And they haven't really been using that drone too offensively, which I think it could have been a lot stronger if you had initially sent it in before the roamers. Because, the people pushing, because you have no choice but to shoot it, and that would compromise their position. So it's always good to utilize that Iona drone offensively. And we'll see the Echo being brought again.
Yeah, we talked about that in the pregame, the importance of Ayana and how she provides information. And it just seems like the usage of her was just lackluster to say the least, especially when you have Vigil who is roaming deep roams. You don't have the drone economy to continue being thrown at him. Why? Well, because he's immune to drones, but he's not immune to holograms, and that's the most important thing. So you throw him on in, or pardon me, you throw her on in, you grab the information, you set your crossfires up, and you execute upon that player. But AcaRa Gaming never did that. They presented him with 4 1v1s, technically 5 1v1s, and he was finally died in that last 1v1. And those are things you cannot do. We've talked about this time and time again. You have to play as a team. You have to execute as a team. And the moment you execute as an individual, like AcaRa Gaming just did, you get picked off one by one. Now, again, AcaRa Gaming only made that mistake once, and they have succeeded in the first 2 rounds. So I think it's going to be an easy mistake for them to rectify. But here we go. It's going to be round number 4, and the last time they attacked here, they attacked perfectly coordinated and in sync. And if they can do that again, I think cLaw might find themselves another round down. But we'll have to actually see how round 4 pans out.
Yes, they've gone for a bit more of a usual comp, not bringing the Ayana this time. They do have the Gridlock and Zofia they've loved to brought so much, and let's see if Scream can cut up some of the roamers yet again as they head to the bar bomb site. The flashbang is being cooked just to try and go for that utility burn, and we'll see the Zofia drop in. They only have the Hibana for hard breach. No Thermite being brought, and no Maverick. It seems like they like to play a bit more aggressive based on their lineup. He's bringing that Gridlock for anti-flank, and we'll see Chili with a fantastic kill onto Flaunson. The hero last round is off the board. That's a strong opening quite early on into the round. His body will, however, block the view onto Heaven, so Echo might be able to exploit that. Unfortunately, bodies are still client side, I think, so it might not be that way for the players. We will see Valkyrie on the Pixel Shield just looking to find a kill, but she will decide to fall off as she knows that Shield's time is numbered and it will now be destroyed.
Again, more bad waves continue to fly out, and that just warms my heart. But Warrior's heart is almost stomped as bullets get put back into him. He's going to find himself at 30 HP, and an aggressive gunfight by both Thunder. The ACOG bros are attempting to kill each other, but not really netting anything other than words. Oh, no, it's a huge wide swing coming out by an M59. Crispy's going to punish one. And it's going to be Chili unable to self-res as he's the only operator in game to do so. A huge aggressive peek that should have been punished, but Crispy gets away from it. And the attackers are very afraid to push into right quarter because they know there's a shotgun sitting very near and dear. It's going to be Thunder still in this aggressive battle, and it's actually not going to be ACOG bros as Warrior is electing not to run the ACOG. He's running a holographic there on that G36C. More toxic bags ring out, preventing the attackers to push through the west corridor of White. But who needs to push in when you can use your SMG-11? And finishing off what is left of Warrior is going to be Crispy. Again, impeccable recoil control. But oh no, what is this? cLaw doesn't seem to be aware that a plant's going down, which you can't stop Jaiko, as he knew all too well, utilizing that utility perfectly. More gunshots rain out as Clouds finds one. Scream's going to attack onto the board as well. It's equal man count here with under 10 seconds left. Anybody can win. They're going to have to get the bomb down, though, but the bomb is left on an island. Oh, no, it's going to be a huge blunder. Nice shots come out, but it's going to be cLaw Central playing off time and utilizing their structure perfectly.
I guess you could say cLaw Central is starting to claw their way back into the round with an
I was going to make that joke at some point today. You stole it.
Yes, but we will. It went back and forth there for a while. At first, I thought it for sure was over for cLaw once they lost their star player, at least for round three. But they've managed to bring it back, and we'll see Crispy on the Ella now. That is very interesting. I wonder if that's a sixth pick, or they'll be using her stun mines to try and hold on to that top floor for the Reading Room Fireplace Hall defense. This is one of the few sites where you can see Clash being brought, and it seems like they have decided not to. Clash actually works pretty effectively on the Reading Room site for that top floor hold, and I think we saw her in a I don't know if it was in SCL or another league, but Clash was used to great effect to really hold that top floor. And if you use her like a mirror shield, like Dark Zero does, she can really facilitate more aggressive styles of play. And that's certainly what they're going for with the Ella pick, as well as the double SAS brothers, just to try and buy time.
I'm assuming that Ella pick is simply to bring out a second deployable shield. Club might actually have a Womai in their strategy. Well, they couldn't have a Womai in their strategy because they're the ones that banned Womai. Is that a suppressor the Deagle? No, it'll just never mind. Disregard me. I'm losing my mind. A suppressor or Deagle is something that you only run for memes, but unfortunately for Class Central, they're just as smarter than that. But yeah, it's very interesting to see where these deployable shields are going to go. We'll most likely see one near Pixel spot and one on bar 4. You can see Ella placing it on bar 4, but where is the other shield? We can see it already have been used, but I just don't know where that is. Most likely to help defense play in safer locations.
Yes, that shotgun on the gridlock really helps with opening those hatches as they're not forced to bring a sledge or any other soft destruction operator, and they can save their breach charges for vertical destruction, which is extremely important on the Reading Room bomb site. The breach charges brought into Zofia will certainly help tear up that floor. I do find it interesting that we're not seeing Nomad being brought for this more aggressive attacking team comp, as roaming is an issue on Cafe, and Nomad really helps to lock it down. But it looks like Scream really likes that gridlock, and he has been performing quite well in the first two attacking rounds that they managed to win. Let's see if they can bring it back. They'll have an early down onto Jaiko. Now let's see if they can confirm the kill. They don't know exactly where he is. They will start to push the smoke, and Ella will have fallen back. So they might have quick top floor control if they can just get rid of this last little smoke, trying to use his toxic baits to hold his position as long as possible. We'll see the walls of Freezer start to get torn open as Zofia begins to move in, and we'll see Hibana pellets being used to more effectively close off that position. There is a mute jammer on the wall, so they can't exactly open it. We'll find Crispy find one in the Ella, really showing the power of that frag up, and Jaiko will be back up, so the man count advantage will now be in the hands of Claw Central. Let's see if they can claw their way back into this series and get it 3-2.
Well, that's definitely not the way you want to do it, as Warrior punishes Crispy as he gets a little bit too aggressive on White Stairs. Big Bag Ben's also going to get aggressive, utilizing that Type 89 perfectly and pushing out Baited, who I still believe had two Toxic Babes in the back pocket, and that's something you don't want to do, especially against a team like AcaRa Gaming that's so fast on their execute. You need all 30 seconds of denial, but unfortunately, those 30 seconds of denial are currently 6 feet underground, and the attackers very much know this and have plenty of time to begin setting up this execute. Gridlock still has a lot of her tracks in there, 2 of them to be precise, which is enough to stop a lot of rotations. Ill-advised peek coming out by a player sitting in Reading Room. That's not going to net any shots, as it's just a potato fest between these two teams. Attackers are still setting up their execute and establishing long lines of sight. It's going to be a north execute through the Reading Room door, but it's going to be Flaunt's in the first line of defense to start punishing that as he starts to utilize that 416 carbine brilliantly. More shots out range between both these teams as Warrior finds one. Chill attacks onto the board as well. It's now a 1v3. We'll call that a 1v2 technically, but it's a retake on the top floor by Jaiko, and it's going to be a plant denial as he downs the planter. The retake of the top floor works brilliantly for the defense, and they win round number 5.
This is a situation where the Nomad really could have helped Claw. Well, Claw did win. It could have really helped AcaRa, my bad, with that late game push, because Gridlock does work effectively, but you could just run through the track stingers. Well, meanwhile, if you have a Nomad jab, it's a lot easier to deploy, so they can easily close off those stairwells. It can be done from afar without compromising yourself, since you can switch so rapidly to the firearm. And it really helps deter the defense, because it's just a lot more effective at a denial, especially since you don't need to bring a 3 armor who's a lot slower, so you can deploy it a lot quicker. So I think the Nomad might really help AcaRa on this attacking half, but it looks like they still want to bring the Gridlock, but this time they have elected instead to bring the Montanya, electing to switch their one walking drone they loved so much, the Ayana, for the other walking drone, the Monty.
And it's a curious decision at that. And honestly, this is Gridlock's best map. Why? Because you can throw them on staircases and they're very difficult to do. And the way sound propagates on Cafe is unlike any other map. I don't have a good reason why. All I know is it's different and you can do map teardowns and you can listen to how sound propagates. It's probably because the map is very linear and stacked on top of each other. That might be how it goes. So if you have a good headset and are really turning up your volume, you can actually hear players shooting or meleeing those charges. Now, it's obviously not as loud as somebody getting yeeted to oblivion as those Nomad air jabs, but it's still enough to notify you of somebody's position. Screams on this Monty is going to be also a very linear push, as they're going to be attempting through Bakery. We've seen a few teams elect to do just, again, this linear style push, only claiming Bakery and not utilizing vertical destruction. And given the fact the last time they were here, they got destroyed by the offsite pressure, maybe this mix-up strategy is a good thing. The only problem they have is these mute jammers that are going to be hindering them, or those nitro cells that go flying out and punishing the Monty. Your pocket pick isn't working, especially as Flaunton finds another kill this round. The good strat coming out by AcaRa Gaming is starting to crumble before their feet.
That is huge. Losing the Montanya, losing your walking drone that allows you to contest those angles, and then also losing your top-rated player, Chili, is really going to hurt. And we will see the Nomad being brought this round, but it's not enough to save them as the defense really, their flankers are still up top, and they still really haven't had their chance to shine yet. We'll see Warrior attempting to be a Warrior and just try and fire off at those roamers, but it won't do him any good. Jaiko on the flank, but his position will be compromised thanks to a drone, so they at least will not have to worry about him today. Big Bad Ben looking to open up that wall, but instead he will find himself a face full of lead from Crispy. Now it's down to Warrior and Clouds to pull back the round, with all 5 of cLaw Central's defenders awaiting their push. I think we're going to probably see a 2-4 split here, which is quite average for Cafe. At first, it looked like it was going to go in the favor of AcaRa, but if it goes 2-4, it's anyone's bet to see how they perform on the defense and what strats they have cooking up in the kitchen. We'll just see the attackers start to fall off out of the map. They really have no map control whatsoever. And they still have their air jabs, but not much else on the board. They still have one in the pocket, so they might be able to limit the rotate of perhaps the mute. But instead, we'll see Flaunton find a huge pick onto Warrior, but he'll get canceled by the Nomad charge. It's all down to the Nomad now, just trying to hold the angle on that window. But there are 46 seconds, not a lot of time for him to work with, especially with only one body and almost no utility. We'll see him try to rotate past the window, and his position will be compromised. They'll put an air jab on the window so he at least doesn't get run out on. And now it's really just going to be time to just stall and try to get some post-game communication going so you can just decide what you're going to do for that next round. And we'll just see the defense getting so aggressive. They know that there's not much more they can do to guarantee their chance of victory. And they'll just try to find that kill quick enough so they just don't have time to plan their next round. And we'll see Clouds find Crispy. There's only 12 seconds. This round is as good as gone for AcaRa Gaming. And I think that is it. Do you have any thoughts on this round, Chief?
It was definitely one-sided, to say the least. cLaw is very comfortable here on the kitchen site, and that's been proven since they've run it a few times. And they show that they, again, understand how this site works. And on the flip side, AcaRa tried to do a different strategy, and I applaud them for that. But the thing is, it just didn't work out for them. Why? Well, when you do a linear take, you have to push through all the firepower. And one of those firepower is those nitro cells. And when you're a Monty, they could be the bane of your existence if you know how to throw them properly. Obviously, I didn't see exactly where Monty died. I believe the nitro cell was thrown behind him and on the ceiling, and the explosion propagated below him and, well, put him in his 6-foot grave. Oh no, cLaw Central started off rough, but they're bringing it back. As you said earlier, and I hate to make a joke twice, they're clawing their way back. But they're playing against Sharks, so we're going to have to see who has better in these games. Is it Claws, or is it the teeth of the great white shark, or the great pink shark?
I think the Goya will also be hugely influential in this round since they just have so many fire shields to work with that will stall out the attack and also act as normal shields. It's yet to be seen if they'll put a normal shield on Pixel, but even with those two shields, it's still a pretty fortified position. Yes, it looks like we'll be seeing ADS placed down in the preparations for defense of the normal shield. And we'll be seeing quite an interesting rotate out into Freezer. Not sure exactly what they're planning to do with that, but yes, we'll be seeing a standard Pixel shield. I find it interesting that you mentioned this during the ban phase that Capitao is ridiculously strong, and we haven't seen him being brought once. Instead, we've been seeing a lot of the Ayana. What do you make of that?
I mean, it's information versus denial is basically what it's basically what you want. Do you want to have more information, or do you want to have, utility denial? And that's the thing, or situational denial. And it looks like they're just going for information. And again, on a map like Cafe, having more information is an asset to be said. And we've seen teams not really running Pixel at all. I don't think cLaw Central actually ran it once, and AcaRa isn't doing it either. They're setting up this unique barback storage execute. Oh, here they are in Pixel. I spoke incorrectly, but horrible micro positioning coming out by Warrior as he gets slammed by that C8. I'm not sure why he was on piano bar, but that's going to be his gravestone, at least for the time being.
Yes, he is off the board. That's their Jaeger, one of their stronger guns off the board, and one of their stronger fraggers so far, apart from Chili and Clouds. It seems like they're using the Goyo shield to create an interesting angle into Piano, so I'm not exactly sure what Jaeger was doing there, given that fact that he has two teammates watching that. See one Goyo shield get destroyed, so that angle into Piano will be no more. It seems like they're trying to basically create a mini Mira, but I don't think it was the smartest decision given how effectively that utility can be cleared from Skylight. We'll see a Valcam placed downstairs in quite a sneaky position, and that might be able to give away the position of Flaunson as he attempts to look for kills. Right now, just watching Tengu rotate, he's in position to find the Maestro if he decides to peek, but it looks like the two of them will just stare at each other for a tiny bit, and we'll see a huge Nitro come out from Clouds. It looks like a pre-placed, taking out bait. He fell for the bait when he pushed into this site.
More punishment is being dealt by both of these teams, and we find ourselves at equal man count with 60 seconds left to execute. It's going to be Jaiko utilizing that buck shotgun to establish vertical control, and I almost look like there's a deep flank coming out by Chili to punish Jaiko, but it was just Flaunson saving his teammate's life. But they're going to have a desperate push up through White Stairs, and we see a player height holding that angle, but who needs to hold angles when that 5.56 starts sliding people up? And that's going to be one of another players on cLaw Central. Pardon me, an AcaRa Gaming side falling. It's only a 1v4 now with Big Bad Ben. His M590 and one smoke toxic babe left, and it's going to be Crispy punishing that as he gets aggressive here on pallets.
cLaw Central is really doing fantastic on their attack. That was a great clear, even though they lost bait due to the Nitro early on in the round. They really managed to come back from that, really collapse onto the Valkyrie, and after that, really focus on the site. Not exactly sure what Maestro was doing there. Perhaps there weren't the calls from his teammate that someone had pushed up to piano door. But we'll see them try reading place Fire Room with a very simple team comp with the Mozzie being brought for the first time in the series. Bait will stick the Ayana, perhaps this time hoping to use the Ayana to bait out that Nitro that he died to last time.
AG, obviously listening to my analysis that I gave earlier, my criticism of cLaw for not running an information denial, and especially when baited is using Ayana, those drones are actually stopped by those mute jammers. They can walk past Mozzie pests, but they can't walk past mute jammers. So that means that information, that little extra information, might be shut down just ever so much. And that's something you want to do. And I really like the setup that AcaRa Gaming utilized in round number 7. It reminded me of the OG Mira setup that people used to run, and one of the reasons that Mira got instant banned because she was so oppressive. You basically shut down the entire west side of Piano. Nobody could push in through, and it looked like it was an iteration of that or a derivative of that strategy that AcaRa Gaming attempted to bring out. It just didn't work out. And that's what I actually like about teams at this level. They're really trying to make innovative strategies. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And just because they fail once doesn't mean it's a broken strategy. I'm assuming AcaRa has been scrimming this for the longest time and it's worked there. It just didn't happen to work in a live match.
Yep, we just got to hope that this time for cLaw Central, Warrior's micro positioning will be a bit better so he doesn't get picked off so early into the round. Really, he's got to stall out the attack. This is one of those sites where if you don't stall out for time, you don't do so well. And it looks like he's right now playing at C1, just hoping to create a little bit of a bullet hole angle along with his mute for company, just attempting to hold those walls. We'll see Chili's playing down below the hatches, hoping to serve up a delicious bowl of nitro. And we'll have to see what comes of that. He still has 2 pests on the board, and he's just waiting for someone to drop. He might find that opportunity very soon. I'm sure one of his teammates is on a cam calling it out. And we will see the first pick go the way of Chili's, taking out Crispy, serving up a face full of lead instead. And let's see what else he could make do here, because he still has a nitro. He still has 2 pests. He's got quite a lot of utility on him. It would be a shame if he were to die now. That is probably his biggest obstacle. And we'll see them start to push into New Balk. His opportunity is coming up, but I think he's already rotated far away, attempting to live a bit longer. We'll see Warrior on a wide swing, though, hoping to try to find a kill. And we'll see Chili's nitro cell go out, but it won't find anyone, not even dealing any chip damage whatsoever.
Crispy's solo execute was punished. He had no drone information and didn't even bother checking out cables. An interesting peek set up by the defense. They're not going to use it as Warrior made that himself, but he didn't utilize holes. But it doesn't matter when you have this gunfight going back and forth. Both these teams are missing. Jaiko on the big flank. Fonkson's going to taunt onto that board as well. This top hole didn't work out for AcaRa as it continues to not work out. Actually, pardon me, that was Clouds killing Bait as he attempts the wide swing. He was running a vertical grip, not an angled grip, and that's the sole reason I believe he lost that gunfight. Equal man count in the top 4 has been relinquished by the defense. They honestly probably should have dropped off that sooner. Drone pings goes out, and they know there's a player sitting inside of gears. It's aggressive peek coming out by the C8 and eventually putting Chili. He is no longer a factor in this round. It's now a 2v3 with 33 seconds left in this round, and it's going to be Clouds pulling a strategy that Jaiko used. It's going to be a retake of the top 4, and if there is no drone information, this could be detrimental to cLaw Central. But they've opened the north reading room wall, so they're going to have to start to flood in and attempt a plant. Now they won't be planting in default. They're going to have to get aggressive. They've actually rotated over to default, which is allowed Screams to get aggressive, and he's going to swing on the Alda. He's going to find 1. He's now going to find 2. It's a post-plant 2v1 with Thunder. His position's known. He has a crossfire, 1 from above, 1 from below. Shots coming out by the UMP. The Alda's going to wide swing. His life is forfeit, but Thunder gets the headshot, but his demise is instant as Clouds utilizes those vertical structures that the attackers did earlier.
I guess you could say 81 bullet go burr, and it certainly did, with honestly Scream being super influential in that last round in getting it for AcaRa Gaming. And he just absolutely shredded the attack, and even though he didn't manage to confirm the last kill onto the planter, he did manage to confirm their position, and that was more than enough for Castle to follow it up with the kill.
What blows my mind is the fact that the attackers, and Thunder, I hate to call you out, they opened the north wall of reading and they didn't execute. I don't know why you would do that, because you know that there's a potential of a player there, and the opportunity cost of opening up is, well, exactly what we saw. An Alda wide swinging on you, utilizing 82 bullets and fire hosing you to oblivion. And that's exactly what happened. And it's really important for players to remember why they are utilizing their utility. Just because you want to thermite a hole because you have the information isn't a good idea. If you're going to thermite that hole because you want to execute or plant, that's the ideology there. But when you see Jaiko kind of push down deep into 90, it was just a curious all-around decision, and unfortunately, it was to cLaw Central's detriment. So hopefully they're able to just make those 1 adjustments and pull through the next time they return to reading. But they're not going to go through reading. Pardon me, it's AcaRa Gaming. I'm losing my mind. My 3 brain cells are already stopping to working, or stop working.
Yes, we will be seeing the Mute and the Mozzie synergy coming out from AcaRa Gaming. They don't have the Vigil, though, so it's really going to be Mozzie that's probably going to be that deep roamer. with 3 pests and 4 mute jammers, there is a lot to deny. They do have the Kaid, so it's not all up to the mute to do that anti-hard breach. And it looks from where the reinforcements are currently going up, you might be seeing a more flexible setup. No, it depends on really where that Jaeger puts his second reinforcement. No, he's going to be leaving the wall soft. I think there might even be a rotate there. Yep, there is a rotate there, but it's just glitched on our end, showing us a whole wall. We see Thunder begin to plan his push into perhaps White. No, instead he will repel up the wall, decide to push with his team. Probably a good decision considering he's Thermite, and as Thermite, you have the most valuable head in the entire team. Without you, there is no execute. And keeping that intact is pretty important content.
It's going to be the P10 Roni here on Chili's. The Commando won't be finding a use in that new holographic. You can't even call it new. He's been in game for well over a year, probably like, what, 15 months now? So I guess I can't call it new. But that different holographic is going to be shown. And it's going to be a very fast execute coming out by the attackers. They've already confirmed that they own the top floor. Their next obstacle is going to be confirming that they own the bottom floor. And it looks like Jaiko is aware that somebody is sitting on east bookshelves. And here comes the aggressive play of Ionic, confirming a player. But it's going to be a double sprint challenge. Swanson gets punished, and Chili's going to find 2. He attempts the 3rd, but Baited ends up winning that. A bad execution coming out by CLaw Central, especially given the fact that they had the Ion drone in play.
Yes, that is huge. Losing 2 of your entries, it's all going to be down to Bait and Crispy to really pull off the aggression that they need. And this could be Bait's chance to redeem himself. He's not been playing too hot so far, but perhaps he can turn it up to 11 and increase the heat in the kitchen bomb site. We'll see Echo just right now hiding behind the counter, just using those drones aggressively to gather as much intel as possible. And we will see the floor start to get torn open, but that hatch is electrified. Actually, no, it is not, I think. So they should be able to open it once they rotate Thermite over. Let's see what he's up to right now. Probably just slinking around, making plans on how to push Freezer, perhaps? Yes, and we'll see a Kaid Claw come out after the frag grenade. We'll be seeing Kaid pushing an extremely aggressive angle with the AUG HU, but decided to fall off, deciding his life is more precious. Warrior is in an excellent position to deny the push onto White Stairs right now, but his swing in is risky, and he's going to confirm the kill on Crispy. He's going to find the kill on Thunder. That's an excellent 2K. Now it's all in the hands of Bait. He's got the Iona drone to use as bait, but what else can he do? There's not much. He has no frag grenades, low in health. He's got a gun, but not much else. Let's see if he can somehow pull off the 1v4, or this will be another round for AcaRa Gaming, getting themselves back in the running after they swapped to the defensive half. It looks like he's just going to go for a tactical timeout, just hiding away the time so his team can have a bit of time to discuss what exactly went wrong.
An impeccable breakdown there. All he has is his gun and 1 drone, as well as his gadget, which will not be enough to execute. You can see him hiding here in toilets, waiting for the clock down to go down to 0. The clock strikes midnight, and it's going to be another win for AcaRa Gaming. Honestly, a good use of that air quotes technical timeout is he has plenty of time to talk with his team. But let's break down that execute coming out of CLaw Central. They're a team that really relies on their aggression and their gun skill, but they made a big mistake. You should never enter a room sprint challenging. If you find yourself sprint challenging, please unbind your shift key and throw it away. Take away that keycap. Why? Because of that. They had 2 players sprint in, and almost 3 of them died. That mistake is unacceptable for high-tier T3 teams. And remember, SCL has some T2 teams currently, or have had T2. So if you make simple mistakes like that, you will be punished to oblivion. I could promise you that. Oblivion's a T2 team. See what I did there?
Haha, very funny, but you know what's even funnier or more? I don't know. That was an awful segue. But speaking, we have my favorite operator on the field, Electric Shield Lady, Clash.
Electric Shield Lady.
Yeah, I'm just coming up with alternate ways to describe the operators. Got to put a bit of variety in there. But we'll have a Shield Go Burr Lady, and hopefully she can stall out that Pixel. Perhaps instead of putting a shield on Pixel, just put a whole operator there as the shield. We'll have to see how that works out. Clash is really effective for stalling out for long periods of time, and hopefully they can hold Pixel for long enough for them to ensure victory.
It's going to come down on these different operator lineups, and that's what I'm really liking about the games that we've seen throughout today. Technically, the week 1 game that we saw about 90 minutes ago in this game, teams are very comfortable with experimenting with different strats and different ideologies. And Clash, as you mentioned, is basically a moving mirror window and shield. Why would you ever need to put a player in Pixel when you can actually grab information for free? The only problem with that is she's very exposed to a crossfire being established by a lifeline as well as gunshots by the 2 tandem breachers we see on that west window. Clash is very aware of this, and she's going to rotate deeper into the white corridor, trying to waste and save her life.
Well, she does have the Echo drone for backup, and with that, as well as the Maestro cam, what I'm thinking we might see here is we might see Clash try to unleash her in her bikini Bodhi and try to go for a spin trick shot, and that would be quite fascinating to see. Typically, at this level, you could maybe secure 1 kill if you're lucky, but it looks like for now she's just trying to waste as much time as possible, just holding out until the cavalry arrives and she can get some backup. The Maestro still has one of his cameras up, I think. It's interesting that it brought both Maestro and Echo, so they're trying to use that utility a bit more offensively. We'll see that Zofia still has one more concussion mine. Will manage to concuss the Clash, and Jaiko will find a pick onto Warrior. The momentum starting to go into the hands of cLaw Central. It's going to be up to Clash to keep wasting that time. There are no more lifelines to speak of, so she will be a bit more safe, but flashbangs will be coming out in an attempt to stall her and push her back. Jaiko is nasty. In fact, I'd say he's a bit of a Shaiko. And let's see if we can make something happen here with that C8.
No, Shaiko's on BGS, my friend, or BDS, pardon me. Oh my god, we're already losing things. But nobody has lost this round yet, at least in round number 10, but it's inevitable that one of these teams will. It's vertical destruction being utilized by that Buck Skeleton key to push those players sitting on those triple bar back there and hope they can move to a crossfire that the attackers have established. That has wasted a ton of time, but Maestro is still sitting on bar number 4. So that skeleton key wasn't as successful as possible. But who needs success when you can utilize a perfect headshot? That's exactly what Flanson does. And it's a take up white stairs. Oh no, it was the Echo who's still on his drone. It's a blunder by AcaRa, and the attackers are going to flood up white stairs. Unsheathing herself is going to be Clouds if he has to get aggressive, but he's electing to take a rotate through top hatch. Jaco's going to find one, screams off the board. It's going to be a post plant momentarily with no denial from underneath. This is most likely a thrown round, but it's going to be Clash finding one, utilizing the best pistol in game. It's the SPS SMG9 versus 3 attackers, and she's trying to do the crab walk as she pushes through lumber. It's actually going to work as it absorbs a few bullets, but the attackers know that she rotated through white. Her time most likely is numbered and forfeit, but she's still not out yet. She's going to attempt to find one thing and far back. Shields work both ways, but the crossfire is established, and Jaiko gets credited with the kill.
Yes, Jaiko really being a huge influence on that round, getting so many nice kills, neutralizing that Clash in the end. But at that point, it was just ceremonial. They had the round. They had 3 bodies. They had 2 on the skylight. It was over for AcaRa. So now we'll see cLaw Central secure themselves at least 1 point on the standing, and now they're hoping to gun for all 3. But AcaRa is still in a position to try and fight their way back up and get it to a 1-1 point split. We will see Jaiko back on the buck. He's especially nasty with that operator. Wonder how many hours he has on T-Hunt with him. We'll be seeing the Thermite being brought instead of the Habana. It seems like even though they play aggressive, they prefer the big boom potential of the Thermite when it comes to hard breach. And we'll see the Mozzie being brought by AcaRa Gaming for a reading room fireplace defense. So it should be interesting to see how it works out. Mozzie was really effective playing under New Hatch last time they went this bomb site. We'll have to see if he can do it again.
Indeed, we will. Will this be the final round and the nail in the Pink Shark's coffin? Or will they try to fight it back and bring us to all 12 rounds? We have technically 6 minutes to find that out, but it's going to be reading room. The last time we were here, we saw a brilliant clutch coming out by Clouds on AcaRa Gaming. The retake was imperfect. It was also facilitated by Screams, who had a big 2K in that round, so I also want to highlight him. But the problem is you cannot be relying on clutches to successfully win rounds. So if that's the whole ideology on AcaRa Gaming, I don't know if it's something that's reliable and something that you can definitely rely on. But again, we'll have to see how it goes here in round number 11.
Yep, the heat is certainly up for AcaRa. They need to win the next 2 rounds, or else they will slip in the standings. And we will see Flaunson playing quite aggressive, just looking to try and push in. But Chili with a huge opening pick. That's Jaiko off the board. That's their number one threat to deal with so far, 13-7. That's about a 2.0 KD. Very impressive. And unfortunately for him, he's going to be shut down super early in the round before he can get his fragging going. We might be seeing something interesting with a castle barricade. If you melee it 11 times, you can get it open in a single melee hit, and that's quite the trick to use. You can really get the jump on people. Be seeing Flaunson doing another solo push. No, he'll have backup this time. And there will be one inside of mining, but their position will be compromised via drone. Can they find Shilly, the highest rated player in the league? He'll chuck out a nitro, but it won't find anyone being shot out in midair. He'll fall back to train. He's just trying to waste as much time as possible right now. The wall starting to get shred open. We'll see a Ash Charge come in as it attempts to really dislodge him, pushing every which way, and just hoping to finally get rid of him once and for all. Hopefully with a bit of buckshot to the head. And he'll just attempt to neutralize as many drones as he can as he attempts to hide away. What do you think of his current positioning? How long do you think he's going to last?
I mean, his position is definitely known, so his life will be forfeit eventually. It's just a matter of time, how much time he can waste, and how much utility he can waste. You can see the flashbangs going out right now. That's basically just preventing the wide swing, but Flaunson finds himself at a disadvantage simply because of the vertical grip. But who needs a vertical grip when you can just crouch walk into sight, ADSing, or not sight, he's going to crouch walk into train and punish that. And to answer your question, it's only going to waste about 20 seconds, which is going to allow the attackers to execute with plenty of time left. Now, the last time the attackers were here, they did a north take onto reading. Now they're going to do a fireplace execute, and we'll have to see how that works out for them. One of the stepping stones you have to do is control of white, and that's exactly what Flaunson is going to take. The problem is he has that razor wire preventing him from pushing in, and Big Bad Ben is going to go toe-to-toe with the SMG-11, but he's going to win that fight as Beta is taken off the board. More attackers continue to fall. An ill-advised Nitrocell rings out, but that's not aiding anything. Big Bad Ben gets aggressive, and so does Scream, but they both get punished, but it's going to be Clouds retacking that back on the board. It's a 2v2 with 20 seconds left in this round. Anybody's in control. The attackers are going to elect to do a rotate, but it's also Clouds who's going to be rotating back to top floor. It's an exact copy of round number 8. But will they be able to succeed? And they being Clouds, he knows the attackers are pushing reading room, and the plant is being attempted. He's going to have to get aggressive. He sees ahead of one, but he's just going to miss his shots. Thunder elects to get off the diffuser. That might have been a mistake. The aggression comes out, and it's going to be who wins it out.
Yeah, certainly a great game. cLaw Central really pulling it back together after those first 2 rounds and coming to an amazing 7-4 victory. Very impressive stuff, and we have a game right after this. What are the teams that are playing again?
It's going to be almost a rematch of a qualifying game, and that's going to be Unreal Academy versus Allen Squared. And I have some heartbreaking news. Allen is no longer playing on the roster, so it's Allen Squared minus Allen. So I guess you have to take the derivative of Allen Squared to get to that, but that's a conversation for a different day. We're currently waiting for one of the members, a representative cLaw, to talk to us about that game. And it appears my co-caster has quickly DC'd, so you're stuck with me for the time being. But an excellent round coming out by cLaw. They were just a game altogether. They were a little slow on their initial executes, especially in round number 1 and round number 2. But they started to pick up their pace, and maybe they just weren't comfortable. We were actually listening to Defiance, and one of the coaches of Unreal Academy, Unreal Nightmare, the main roster, is they didn't have a warm-up scrim. That definitely was not a contributing factor, but it's just a mental mindset. And it looked like cLaw wasn't quite warmed up, so maybe they just need to change up their entire warm-up or their ideology pushing into a game. But Autumn, what do you think?
Oh, that was a fascinating game. Certainly, they need to switch things up if they really want to keep the advantage snowballing. They started off really strong, as I said, but they just fell apart after that. If they had managed to get the momentum back on the attack, they could have kept their morale strong. And at that point, at the beginning, honestly, I think Team cLaw was a bit demoralized, and if they had taken advantage of that, it could have gone really well. And that's also part of the reason Trash Talk is banned because it really gets into players' heads. And now we will be
Don't tell that to Defiance. He doesn't know that rule. I see him lurking in chat right now. You know who I'm talking about. But it's going to be Baited taking the representation for cLaw Central. We're going to get him here momentarily. It's Baited. Welcome to the casting booth, my friend. Congrats on your big win. And did you expect it to be so one-sided?
Not necessarily. I mean, we always go into every game with a different mindset, you know? It's a new game, new opponent. We played them in quals and we beat them. So, but like I said, different game. So we went in with the same mindset we always do.
Now, speaking about mindset, you lost the first 2 rounds. Did that degrade your mindset at all, or was it actually just fueling the fire to get you more warmed up and more fired up?
It didn't really affect our mindset. I mean, we knew exactly why we were losing the rounds. It was a communication problem. As you saw, we fixed that on the defensive side, and we won 4 straight rounds.
So I would like to build upon that point. You say communication problem. I'm not sure who the IGL is, but how would you correct that, just for the listeners? Because I think that'd be something super fascinating. As an IGL myself, I know how to answer this question, but I'd love to get your opinion.
Yeah, Jaiko is our IGL, but I mean, it wasn't him necessarily. Like, it was just us not communicating on where people were pushing, what we were holding, and stuff like that. So there were lapses in our angles we were holding, and so they were seeing the holes and capitalizing on them. So we fixed that and worked together a lot more on our roams and on site as well, which allowed us to capitalize off of them pushing into us.
Great answer, my friend. Autumn, any questions?
I have a quick question. What was your thinking behind utilizing the Iana? What do you see in that operator?
Well, first, obviously, she brings nades, and in the meta we are in now, anything that can destroy shields is amazing. And secondly, she's basically unlimited drone throughout the whole round. Like, no matter if she gets shot or not, you can use her to drone something out if you're out of drones or anything like that. Plus, she's really nice if you're swinging like shotgun players, because you can get them to shoot the Iana, which will make them have to repump their shotgun, and then allow for somebody to swing off of that into a frag. So overall, we find her very useful, in my opinion.
Very good point. Very good point, my friend. I saw a lot of people cheering her name in all chat. Anything to say to the people who love you?
No. Yeah, I mean, thanks for the support. Obviously, I didn't show up tonight, but I had some stuff happen today. Thank God that Flanson, Jaiko, and Crispy are all goated. Picking up the frags when me and Thunder were down today. If you're supporting cLaw, I appreciate it. Keep supporting us, man.
Yeah, we heard about that. We wish you the best, my friend, in everything, your personal life, as well as in your gaming. Hopefully we interview you next week. Again, it's been an absolute pleasure, my friend.
I appreciate it, man.
Cheers, take care. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up game number 1. But please don't go anywhere. We're going to take about a 5-minute break, and then we'll be back with you with Unreal Academy this time versus Allen Squared. Again, we'll be back with you in about 5 minutes.